don't know about the nation of gods and earth, 5% nation of gods and earth. There's no way that that's happening, and you don't know about the nation of gods and earth, right? Now, what I want to do is I just want to look right quick at the leaders of the Nation of Islam. I just want to cross-reference that with you, because the people in the world of today, this new era of internet life, I had a young guard really asking me about the difference between the Supreme Wisdom and 120 Lessons. And pretty much what it is you have Elijah's version of 120, or the NOI's version of 120, which really comes from Elijah and W.D. Farad. That's really what's going down. And then you have 120 lessons. You have the Supreme Wisdom from Elijah, and you have 120 lessons from the gods. That's really what it is. And you have the Father's influence on 120, and our influence and how we see 120 based on the Father's manifestation of 120. So that's why there's a difference between 120 from NOI and there's versus 120 lessons from the nation of gods and earth. Now you got Minister Louis Farrakhan. Elijah Muhammad had appointed him the national representative of the NOI. I'm not exactly sure what date that took place, but it was a plus degree speaking on it, and pretty much Farrakhan Muhammad kind of went with Warith Deen Muhammad, and this is like 1975, and most people in the nation that is online right now probably weren't even born enough, or those of us who were born with children, and they really didn't know what was going on, so you wouldn't know. So it's all history to us. All right, then you have the final call is part of the Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the NOI under Minister Louis Farrakhan is not the same NOI as Elijah Muhammad's NOI. Then you have Warith Deen Muhammad, the seventh son of Elijah Muhammad, and Sister Clara Muhammad, who took over the leadership of the original NOI from his father when his father returned home in 1975, and the American Muslim Mission. Then you got Supreme Minister John Muhammad, the biological brother of Elijah Muhammad, right? And he didn't agree with his nephew Warith Deen Muhammad and the way he was denying Elijah Muhammad. So he has a version of the NOI, or John Muhammad taught the NOI that he was the minor prophet of Allah. That's pretty much what he taught. He didn't bear witness to the orthodox side of Islam. You also have Silas Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad. He was, from what I understand, I can't say that I witnessed it, but from my understanding, he was once very close with Elijah Muhammad. They say he was his barber. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard tell that he was the barber, and he married Harriet Abu Bakr. I could be pronouncing that wrong, but he married Sister Harriet. Okay. I know for a fact that he was one of the first people to stand up out of the ministers in support of Elijah Muhammad. And if I remember back in the days, they were on the West Coast, California. And then I remember them leaving California, something to do with earthquakes and stuff like that. And they went to Atlanta. And that's where their base of operations was or is. I could be wrong, but you can double check that. I'm sure Silas Muhammad's people will build with you about that. Then you have the other minister, Solomon Royal. I saw him one time on YouTube, and he's the leader of a United Nation of Islam. And he states that the 23 scientists aboard the mothership took him physically across the universe, and told him that he would replace W.D. Farad. And, you know, this is what he built on, and Mother Plane and Ezekiel's Wheel, and he went into that, all right, and that's Solomon Royal. Then you have, what is his name? The Son of Man, Marvin Muhammad. And he's a leader of the new Nation of Islam, okay? And their sign is the two crescents with a star in the middle. It looks something like the 8-pointed star they have. Looks very, very similar to the universal flag that Shamgar made. It looks similar to that, but it has those two crescent moons on each side of a star in the middle, like that. If you go to the website Ancient Order Free Asiatics and you look up the leaders of the Nation of Islam, if you go all the way to the bottom of that page, that chapter in the book, The Coach's Eye Guard, you will see what that flag looks like, you know. And other than that, that's pretty much the manifestation on the NOI. That was for the Young Guard, all right. Now, the difference between the NOI and the 5% Nation. Pretty much to give it a fast, without going through all of the intricacies of it, they're Muslims and we the Guards, pretty much. They bear witness to W.D. Farad, Elijah Muhammad. They see W.D. Farad as Allah in the person. Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and they have supreme wisdom. Very disciplined. Sanukus Rule is their martial art. They're very disciplined. They're in soldiers. I'm talking about 1975 NOI versus, I'm not talking about the new NOI. I just ran through those different NOI, and there could be some more out there that I have no idea about, but the NOI of Elijah's 1975 is not the NOI of today from Silas, Solomon, Marvin, John, Lewis, and War of Deen don't even have the NOI. He has the American Muslim Mission. So that's not part of Elijah Muhammad's manifestation. That's more orthodox in nature. All right, so the difference between us is the NOI is Muslims or are Muslims, but even though the Orthodox Muslims don't bear witness to them. 5% Nation, we are not Muslim. We the gods in the earth. We the 5% Nation. We Allah's 5%. Somebody was telling me that the term God body comes from brothers that went up north, and that they were the Nation of Gods, and this was very influential on them, and so they had an understanding of 120 lessons, and they formed a group called God Body in the penal institution to keep them away from Germans. I'd never been up north. I heard the term German. At first, I didn't know what it meant. I thought they were talking about Germans from Germany, but it has a different meaning up north. People up north know exactly what I'm talking about. That's where the God Body is protecting the guards, pretty much protecting their guards and their cells from the penal institution and the ways it is and the things that it does to you. The black woman in the wilderness of North America who's in the Nation of Gods and Earth, we call her our Earth. Symbolic to Gaia, Mother Earth, the womb of the universe, could be the womb, triple darkness. She's our queen, she's our wisdom, she's equality, she's the earth. That's the terms that we use. Of course, there's other nations that call their women other names that are beneficial and attributes to how they see it. Goddess, and the Moors, what do they call their sheiks and sheikesses, and then you have the Muslim and Muslimas or Muslims. They got a different term for Muslims are men and Muslim women, and different nations. I'm not sure what the Hebrews call their women. I guess they call her queen, or you know, I know they don't say earth, but I don't know what terms they use exactly. My sister, you know, the Black Power people, their sister, the queen, earth, is for the Nation of Gods and Earth, and goddesses for some other NOI, the new Black Power movement, RBGs, and everything they call their women, whatever they call their women. not being derogatory to them. But to me, all of it's an upliftment because the unconscious, and I use that word loosely, pretty much we got men, the unconscious terms is men are niggers, and they call every man is a nigger. All men are niggers. And it doesn't matter if you black, white, yellow, brown, color, whatever your nationality, culture, creed is, you a man, you a nigger. And the women, they all bitches. So, I mean, we could look back in slavery and know that the white man named you nigger and named your woman bitch because he called you dog and a female dog is a bitch. That's where all that really came from that term. I'm not going to get all deep in that because you could do your own research on that and figure that out. Some good books to do the knowledge to would be Alex Haley's Roots. That's a very good beginning book. I like J.A. Rogers. I love J.A. Rogers. J.A. Rogers is a very good book to read. Matter of fact, all of J.A. Rogers. Just look up J.A. Rogers, and any book that you see J.A. Rogers wrote, buy that book. Dr. Ben, another good brother to get information from when you're talking about Nile Valley. All right, I know a lot of people are into the Nile Valley nowadays, so I would say if you want to understand Nile Valley and what the Nile Valley curtailed for the black man, woman, and child, I say Dr. Ben is like one of the best people to study or read his books on that, listen to his speeches. He's great, you know. Why is the white man the devil? It's a deep subject. I heard Lord Jamal speak on it. I had a lot of older guards speak on it. I heard Messiah build on it one time. Which then when I heard him build on it, I didn't even know he was Messiah. I was a young guard and I was listening to him speak, and he was speaking on it, but I didn't know who he was then. I didn't even know he was part of my tree. But pretty much, if you take a chalkboard, put a line down the middle of it, and make a T out of it, and leave a little bit at the top, so you could put devil on one side and put white man on the other side. And then we'll just take something like the Bible and make it simple. And you can get a Bible concordance and a Bible dictionary. You write down everything in one or two words that's devil in the Bible. What the devil does, how he sees things, and his manifestations, his attributes. Put that on one side. And then we'll go through history starting from, let's start like the year 9000. But in the Asiatic count, that's the year 9000. But even if you didn't go that deep and you went to say 1555, and you go from 1555 with John Hardy Hawkins Jr., and you write down all the things that the Europeans from Britain, the Spaniards from the conquistadors, the Romans from Italy, the Greeks from Greece, Macedonians, the Britons and English from Britain, and you tell me if that's not devil. And you make your own decision on that. That was for the young guard. Yaqub. The story of Yaqub. Yaqub is a very intricate story. Basically, the grafting of the devil. Wisdom Build Destroy Degree in the 1 to 40. I was building on that the other day, where if you go from 8,400 to the year 9,000, that's pretty much showing and proving how the devil was made, the grafting process. I know some people say, oh, that's not real, this, that, and the third, but it is what it is. You could say it's real, or you could say it's not real. That's your opinion, that's your understanding. You take it where you want to take it. I'm just giving you the history of Yaqub. From the year 9,000 to the year 15,000 would be the 6,000 year rule. People would say, oh, that can't have happened. But then when I look at albinos, I say it's a possibility. If you look at genetics, it's a possibility. If you look at DNA, these are things that scientific facts. These things can happen, did happen, and it is what it is. So if you really want to understand the history of Yaqub, there's a plus degree on the history of Yaqub. Oh, it's several plus degrees in the history of Yaqub, as a matter of fact. But the foundation to the history of Yaqub, we'd go right to the Wisdom Builder Destroy degree. Now, once the devil came out of Pelon and came to Mecca, and he was causing confusion amongst the original people, and we ran him from among us. We didn't run them all from among us. We ran the ones that was causing confusion amongst us in that day and time from among us. And I hear people say, well, I'm not so sure about General Mukmuk. Well, you can't have the Wisdom Builder Destroy degree without having General Mukmuk, because once you get to the point where we ran them across the Hot Arabian Desert to the case of West Asia, they now call it Europe. That's General Mukmuk. They ran 1,100 miles, and then we walked them 1,100 miles, and he went savage and ran up to the caves of West Asia. That's where it goes, right from Yaqub to General Mukmuk. So if General Mukmuk ain't real, how can Yaqub be? And then why don't we just say ain't no devil? You feel me? So that's what I'm saying, son. Word is born to the Father. You know what I'm saying? The teachings of Yaqub go right into General Mukmuk. From General Mukmuk, you go right into Musa. When he come back into the caves and he's teaching them. I did a history on that where, you know, he blew them up and this, that, and the third, and he grabbed the young and he gave them back whatever trick knowledge they had so they could come back and master the original man. And Musa basically brought the first Europeans out of them caves. Was the Jews, and they were supposed to civilize the other Europeans. So pretty much the foundation to them civilizing is when they tried to give them masonry, and they gave them Christianity and things of that nature. And if you think it don't come from there, look at it. You telling me Christianity doesn't come from Judaism? It's kind of right there. And Judaism comes from the Hebrews. The Hebrews are the original people, the Asiatics. Black man from the wilderness of North America is today. The original man is wilderness North America, but the original people all over the planet Earth is another level. And then you got the Hebrews. The Hebrews in Africa are the original people of that particular culture, the Hebrews. The Europeans who took on the culture and the creed of the Hebrews and made it a religious practice, they're the Jewish people, they're the Europeans from Europe. That's the connection. But they try to make you think that Jew and Hebrew are the same people. So when they make these movies and they're all white people in there, you believe that. And that goes right back to making Jesus white, Moses white, Noah white, everybody in the Bible white, and they're in the middle of Africa. And so now you tell me, is that sound scientific fact, or is that some made up shit propaganda trying to twist your mind? All right. Then, what is the next one? Why did the black man make devil? To show and prove that Allah is God, always has been, always will be, that he can make a devil which is weak and wicked when given the power to rule the earth for 6,000 years, then destroy the devil in one day. That's 120 already explains that. But I imagine that the person that asked that question didn't have 120, so you know, when you get a set of 120, you'll be able to see those type of things because they're in the lessons. They'll change the convolutions on your mind, or your brain, I should say, because the mind is throughout the body. The convolutions on your brain will change and will redevelop, and you'll increase the convolutions on your brain when you start learning how to quote mathematics, alphabet, 12 Jews, 120 lessons. It will change your whole outlook on how you see the planet Earth and the universe and your relationship between man, God, woman, and child. It would definitely change it. All right. So